All right, welcome back to Reflections Unfiltered. I'm John Harvey, joined as always by Nikki Callahan and the one and only Eden Valen. Today we go straight into the digital deep, this time with the Aisuru botnet, which has rewritten the scale for DDoS attacks. I mean, Microsoft's Azure got slammed with a 15.72 Tbps attack from over 500,000 IP addresses. You know, sometimes I think about the old days. Big cybercrime meant a couple of hackers in a dim basement. Now 500,000 hijack things. Your granny's doorbell cam, the neighbor's router can turn into a digital battering ram. Nikki, you actually had a close call with this sort of thing, right?
Right, John. Not long ago, one of my neighbours couldn't figure out why her security camera started blinking oddly. Honestly, we both thought it was just the cold weather messing up the wires. But when I dug into her network traffic, after much tea and a not-so-subtle bribe with her homemade banana bread, we realised it was talking to servers all over the globe. Classic botnet handiwork, though I didn't know it could be part of something as wild as this. Makes you wonder, right? Each of these gadgets, tiny, silent, trusting, gets drafted into this digital gladiator's pit. We're talking routers, cameras, all of it piled into this Aisuru botnet wave, flooding Azure's infrastructure with nearly 3.64 billion packets per second. It's sort of dizzying, the sheer energy, or maybe that's just the post-banana bread jitters talking.
It's like our toasters are preparing for cyber war and nobody bothered to warn us. I have to say, the poetry of this carnage is nearly beautiful, except it's also a bit horrifying, isn't it? These home gadgets, these digital flock, all weaponized in lockstep, 500,000 points of light, blinking as one. But there's something about the nature of the attack, minimal spoofing, using randomized ports, almost as if the operators wanted to be found, or wanted to show off just how close to the surface this risk lives in our homes. A Turbo Mirai-class spectacle, the mundane made monstrous by a bit of faulty code and a world that can't keep its firmware straight.
That's the point, isn't it? Yeah, these aren't some military-grade attack drones. They're the cameras watching the front stoop, pure civilian hardware. Microsoft's Azure team was clear. The attack was dense, sudden UDP floods, and tracing it back was unusually doable because the source IP addresses weren't so obfuscated. The implication there is chilling. These attackers weren't worried about being caught, which is honestly a warning in itself.
You're absolutely right, John, and it nudges at something we discussed a couple episodes back. The hidden springs, these silent forces shaping our world. Well, here's a spring, a river, honestly, of digital traffic, unleashed with a tap. I'll admit, after my neighbour's incident, I changed every password, updated all my firmware, even the smart kettle. And yet, I still feel like I'm taping up the windows in a hurricane. How do you really secure yourself when your world's gone porous?
That's delicious imagery, Nikki. Porous worlds, castles of sand. I'd add, it's an almost mythic reflection of technology's double-edged promise. Build convenience, inherit vulnerability. Our homes used to keep the wild out. Now the wilderness is woven through our walls, 3.64 billion packets per second, howling at the digital door.
And on that note, the defenders aren't resting. Let's pivot to the aftermath, how Cloudflare and Microsoft tried with all their resources to hold the line. I mean, Cloudflare saw a spike, 198% more DDoS attacks quarter over quarter last year and 358% up year over year. That's not a trend. That's an avalanche. They're mitigating attacks now that clock in at 22.2 Tbps, like the one they stopped in September, though it only lasted 40 seconds. It's wild, but the violence is brief, like a punch in the gut you never see coming.
40 seconds of digital thunder, enough apparently to mimic 1 million 4K video streams, all flooding in a single breath. The operators, though, aren't cattle rustlers. They're stage magicians, distorting all the metrics. Cloudflare had malicious domains ballooning up their DNS charts, overtaking Amazon and Google. That echoes our past episode on Spectacle. Except this time, the spectacle isn't pearls and champagne, but sheer disruption. How do you unravel a signal when the noise is by design?
It's almost like shadowboxing, isn't it? You're not fighting a single opponent, but the orchestrated chaos of a million tiny hands. I know, there's this growing tension. How do we build new, exciting tech, but not hand out skeleton keys to our own houses? John, you've wrangled some of these digital storms before. What's it like when you're right in the thick?
Chaos, Nikki, pure chaos. I remember during the early days of digital journalism, we were still learning what a denial of service attack could even do, let alone how to respond. It's a moving target. First you chase the traffic, then you chase the actors, and then you chase the effect. But now the scale, it's logarithmic, not linear. You're not defending one border, but every door and window on a global city. And you're constantly playing catch up while your adversaries toss red herrings into your metrics to confuse not just you, but everyone relying on the data. Cloudflare losing control of its DNS top domains list, that's an attack on trust more than bandwidth.
Trust, indeed. In the end, nobody cares how fast your infrastructure is if your map's been drawn by tricksters. It's a kind of war, the old kind, with banners and sabotage, except the battlefield is invisible and the banners are botnet logs. And all of it driven by that contest between progress and protection. The edge of every innovation seems to cut both creator and consumer alike.
It's like watching a champion sprinter, but their track is laid across a minefield. We marvel at the speed, but forget the thin margin for disaster. We want everything connected, responsive, seamless, until suddenly the seams give way, and all that's left is the scramble to patch what's already been breached.
Which brings us, ever so gently, back to the humans under all this code. The reason Aisuru got so big so fast? One breach. Someone snuck into a router firmware update server, Totolink, and in a heartbeat, 100,000 more devices were conscripted. It's a chain reaction. Trust a source, miss a vulnerability, watch entropy ripple outward like a bloodstain in water. Can we ever really trust the smart world we're building, or is this all a high-tech illusion of safety?
Oh, Eden, that's the haunting question, isn't it? Sometimes I feel like we're patching up a ship with cardboard in a thunderstorm, pressing update, holding our breath, and hoping the storm passes us by. It takes vigilance, yes, but also a willingness to confront hard truths. Device makers don't always ship updates in time. Most people don't know how to change a router's default password, let alone check what's talking to whom on their network. The human factor isn't just a loose thread, it's the whole tapestry.
And yet, responsibility isn't just on users. Manufacturers too set the tone. From my days as a CIO and later working intelligence, I saw it firsthand. Security is rarely the selling point. It's cameras with a new AI feature, not now with less risk of being weaponized. Firmware gets rushed, update servers get breached, and suddenly we're all exposing our homes without a second thought. We need regulation, sure, but more than that, a change in what we value, accountability, transparency, actual resilience, rather than a top coat of features.
Castles on shifting sand. It feels like we're all renters, not owners, of our digital safety. If the past tells us anything, it's that the cycle repeats. Trust, breach, adapt, repeat. Maybe the myth of absolute security is what leaves us so exposed. But here's the subversive twist. Maybe the answer isn't a fortress, but a village, a network of courage and mutual vigilance. Not perfect, not even safe, just aware, awake, and refusing to sleepwalk into the next DDoS dawn.
Awareness as resilience. I love that. And maybe a little bit of humility too from both sides, designers and dwellers, all learning to tend the digital hearth by candlelight, one eye open for trouble, but the other open for those connections that really matter, the ones worth defending after the packet storms subside.
Exactly, Nikki. The battle's never over, but every breach, every scramble to patch is a lesson, granted sometimes a brutal one. As always, thanks for listening. We'll keep untangling these nets and shining a light on the unseen undercurrents. Eden, Nikki, thank you as ever for keeping the conversation sharp and the metaphors rolling. Until next time, stay curious, stay watchful. Good night, both of you.
Good night, John. May your routers rest easy and your dreams be firewalled but never closed.
And from me, a peaceful, connected night to all. Just remember to check those passwords. See you next episode.